Once you have both sides, in my case I only have part of it just because I want to show you, you want to put them together. If you want to have it like in this bag, this thin side, you want to do an intentional arrow. I say this because if you look at the pattern, you can see that you have this mint one in the middle, and then you have those 3 beads on the sides of it, and then the square continues. But for the sides, I did this intentional arrow. You can see it here, this intentional arrow, where I don't have the center and I don't have these 3 cream beads around that. So I did this just because I wanted to have only one side, but in the strap I continued the correct pattern. If you want to do it later correctly, so if you want to do the correct pattern on the sides, you're going to have a double-sided side, and the straps are going to be a bit thicker or a bit thinner, just so for the pattern to make it make sense. This is the intentional mistake which makes the bag the bag. So in this case, I don't want this intentional mistake. I want it correctly now. I'm just going to show you how to do it. It's the same way. If you want the intentional mistake, you just have to do 1 row. In this case, we're going to have to do 1 row more. So here you can see these are the both sides. This is how they would be together. But instead of doing this one side, I'm going to do 2 sides without this intentional mistake. Here I'm going to put the next row of beads, and then I'm going to put them together. This is why I want the thread to have it on the side, so that I can start to add a row. I'm just going to thread this thread to the bead on the side so that I can do the side row. I'm going to turn it around and now start my next row. This is just the way you learned it before, to just continue a row. You just have to be careful with your pattern so that you have it correctly. Now I arrived at the last 2 beads, and the same thing as before. Instead of going up there, I'm going to do it at the lower thread. Now I'm going to put both of the sides together and add the next row. But without this intentional mistake, I'm just going to do it correctly because I started correctly. I'm going to turn it around. And you can already see where I have to put those together. Later I can continue the bag down there. You can use the beads already and put them just like in between to see where it's going. I was just a bit confused with the pattern on the beginning, so that's why I just checked. I'm going to put them back in and then just start to put them together. How you do it is you take the bead that you're going to need in between, you're going to thread it through one side, and then you have it already together because the thread is already coming out of one side. And then you have those 2 thread ends coming out of each side, and you are going to pull the next bead through it, which is going to be the next bead in the middle, and then you take both ends of the thread and thread them into the beads of the sides. And this continues all the way up. So just use the upper beads of the sides and thread the thread through so that you can use the next middle bead. and just continue all the way up there. Now we are at the last bead. You're just gonna thread them through both. That's what you did all before. And now you are done with threading it together. This is basically what you would do for the whole bag.